Say what?
Yes, sir. I was just wondering, how did you become friends with Jimmy Carter?
Well, it wasn't a political thing, for sure. I was in the studio in Macon, Georgia. We lived there after the band got back after the Allman Brothers initially got together, and it was on Capricorn Records, and they built a studio there, and I was there cutting my first solo album we were just talking about. And he had called earlier that afternoon. He's a big Bob Dylan fan, and Bob Dylan's show was coming through Atlanta, and he was the governor of Georgia then, and he was throwing him a big party after his concert, and he invited me to come up. And so the way it is in the studio, you know, well, we'll do one more take, and then we'll get in the car and go, you know, and one more take, and it got to be about, I guess, 10:30, and we just shut everything off and got in a limo and split. And we got there just as the last guest was coming down the drive, right? So the way it is, it's the government mansion there. It's a big horseshoe drive, and they have a little house here with the guards in it, and you have to stop there. And so I went up there and I said, well, it looks like the place is cleaned out. So I just want you to tell Governor Carter that we did show, and thank you for the invitation. And so I got back in the, turned around to go back to the car, and the guard says, wait a minute. I thought, oh, God. He says, the governor wants to see you on the steps of the mansion now. I thought, gee. A federal, chewing my butt federally, right? And so I got back in the car, and we drove up there, and I could see on the porch there, the front steps, there was this guy standing there, and he didn't have on any shoes, and he had on no shirt, and he had on an old pair of Levi's with like holes in them. And I thought, who is this bum hanging out here at the governor's mansion? And sure enough, that was him. And he opens the door, and he says, come on in. He'd been partying all night with her. He said, I'm going to send the wife upstairs. And she was there. I met her, and then she was gone. And we sat down and started drinking the scotch. And he said, you know, I'm going to be the next president. And I said, okay. I hadn't been a Southern president in how many decades, right? So I said, and I need a little money to do this. And he turned out to be a really nice guy. And one of the first things he did was give amnesty to the people who got drafted, right? So I liked the guy, you know, right away. I mean, he didn't tell me he was going to do that, but he did it. And he seemed pretty all right. I mean, I knew all along he would never make president, but I thought, what a great gesture, you know, to play a few gigs. And sure enough, he made it.